So with it, gang, you already know it's your boy Big Mo. We back with another reaction video. You heard me? Hey, oh, excuse me, I had to burp. Y'all niggas know what time it is. This Capri Sun gang, you feel me? I told y'all I'm sponsored by Capri Suns, bro. I'm not playing. You know what I mean? We're gonna do a nice little reaction video. Big blunts, big cherries, and all that. First blunt of the day. You feel me? I haven't smoked all day. I knocked out 2 videos that I haven't smoked yet, y'all. What? Come on now. But no, this one more interesting. I feel like. Let me scoot back a little bit, y'all. You know what I mean? I feel like this one more interesting. We about to get on some science shit. You feel me? Hold on, let me get my ashtray ready too. We about to get on some science shit. Today we're gonna do a reaction of what happened when you quit marijuana, y'all. I always wondered that shit too. You feel me? We gonna get right into it. We ain't gonna hold nobody.
Right now, 55 million Americans use marijuana. And in Canada, marijuana dispensaries are popping up everywhere like they're Tim Hortons for weed. And I in Toronto can even order these whittled THC drinks delivered to my front door from the Canadian government. Thanks, Justin. Weed is being pitched to us as kind of amazing, right? Well, a recent survey found that 4.3% of Americans have tried to quit marijuana at least 6 times and failed. Plus, now withdrawal symptoms are being fully understood. So today we are going to explain exactly what happens to your body when you try to quit weed. Day 1 to 2 of quitting is when withdrawal symptoms start. A meta-analysis of over 23,000 people found that 47% had at least 3 of the following withdrawal symptoms.
Damn,
nausea, headaches, depressed mood, difficulty getting to sleep, sweating, anger, nervousness, decreased appetite, and strange dreams. Ding! Now, the risk of withdrawal symptoms is proportional to the amount of marijuana you've been consuming. For example, someone who consumed marijuana 3 times a week would likely have less withdrawal symptoms than someone who consumed marijuana every day. Day 3 of quitting
I might want to put it. I'm kind of like, I would say every day, but mostly every day.
Begin to dissipate in the coming days, but on the other hand, the strange dreams and difficulty getting to sleep only begin to increase on day 3. This information has led to new research suggesting that chronic cannabis users may induce intrinsic sleep problems. Around day 4 of quitting is when the amazing physiological changes in your brain start to occur. Marijuana contains molecules which mimic natural neurotransmitters that are already in your brain called cannabinoids. At baseline, cannabinoids circulate at lower quantities in your body, but when you ingest marijuana, you create an influx of cannabinoids into your system, most specifically an increase in the psychoactive component THC, aka delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, which is what I like to call it. THC is for noobs. When I see someone with an edible, I say, how much delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol got in there, bud? The THC you've consumed while getting stoned resembles the natural neurotransmitter anandamide and creates increased neuronal activity in certain parts of your brain, which cause thoughts, imagination, and perception to magnify. The THC binding to your neurons also affects dopamine and norepinephrine levels in the body, which can lead to euphoria, pain modulation, and anxiety. But the thing is, as you continue to consume weed, it becomes harder to quit. You start to create a desensitization and downregulation of your endocannabinoid receptors, specifically the CB1 receptor. Since this receptor modulates systems of short-term memory, increased cannabis use means a decrease in short-term memory. THC also affects neurons involved in the experience of novelty. When THC binds specific neurons, the influx creates an exciting sense of novelty even for mundane, repetitive tasks like washing dishes. It's why you might get stoned and walk down your same street and feel like everything is heightened. It's like, wow, is everything in bloom. It's the middle of winter. But regular cannabis use leads to the downregulation of these same neurons, making it harder to quit and making it harder to feel the bliss of a new experience while sober. After too much weed, you might go to Paris for the first time and see the Eiffel Tower and be like, that's it? Is it a lighthouse? Oh, it's pointless. Okay, cool. Should we go up it? No, let's not go up it. We should just go home. But thankfully, on day 4 of quitting marijuana, the CB1 cannabinoid receptors will likely have returned to normal functioning. Essentially, it only takes around 4 days of quitting marijuana for the neuronal changes in your brain to go back to baseline. Now, this is new research,
so
and I think it is important to continue to study this, especially as the popularity of weed skyrockets. We need lots of long-term evidence about how this could be affecting our brains. I am focusing on how the THC affects the systems in your body, how you get that THC into you, might involve smoking, and the act of smoking could have lasting effects on your lungs. But there is actually a specific way that the THC in your system can
I've
have
been smoking
longer
marijuana
impacts
for a
on
decade.
your neurology in your brain. If you consume too much marijuana during development, such
More
as
than
in
a decade, yo. I've been
adolescence, you
smoking
can create
marijuana more than a
long-term
decade.
neurophysiological
That's a
effects.
long-term
So,
effect
yeah, I
right
started
there, man.
smoking weed in grade 10, which by definition is adolescence, so whoopsies. As a closeted gay kid in a high school with no other gay kids, I was sort of drawn to that stoner skater crowd because, to
you
be
gay?
honest, they were the most fashionable. I also always had
Okay.
this gay voice, so when people would come up to me and be like, "You're gay," I'd be like,
Actually, no, I'm sort of like a quirky, cool, like skater,
Nah,
bro.
nigga, you
I'm Avril
gay.
Lavigne, but a boy. Get it?
Nah,
As a queer
nigga, you
kid,
gay.
really weed wasn't an asset for me. But all those reasons aside, scientific evidence now suggests that I could have been doing long-term damage to my neurophysiology. So was it worth it? Because when it comes to marijuana's
Whoa,
lasting
so I'm doing
neuronal
damage?
effects, the age of your brain matters. Okay, but back to day 5 to
fuck.
7 of quitting weed. A recent study found most people who tried to quit marijuana would fail on days 5 to 7. And it was hardest for people who were dependent on marijuana. Marijuana
depend on
dependence can be
marijuana.
defined as someone who has consumed weed daily for 10 years and has attempted to quit numerous times but not made it past.
I never quit,
It can also
though.
be defined by a continued
But
use
I
of
don't just spend on
marijuana
this shit,
despite
though.
social, psychological, and physical
It don't
impairments.
control
It
me.
should be noted that
For a
although
lot-
many scientists
it do control a lot of
agree
niggas
that
on some real
marijuana
shit, though.
dependence does exist, they also agree that dependence on marijuana is less severe than dependence on alcohol, cocaine, or opiates. But for marijuana, days 5 to 7 are
Nah, I can
important
go a
days
whole
to
month
focus
without
on when trying
smoking.
to quit, as statistically,
But I won't quit.
they are the biggest
Some
hurdle.
niggas
I mean,
can't
I
eat
feel
without
this. I
smoking.
still consume weed. Yes, it's been decades. Thankfully, not daily, but I do wonder if I'm dependent. And it is on day 5 to 7 where I usually find myself ordering a little edible from the Gov and taking my Just Dance skills to the next
Oh,
level.
hell
It's
no,
also honestly
dude.
because the weekend
Quit
comes
that
and I
shit.
want to watch a movie stoned.
You
To be
wild,
honest, in my
nigga.
adult years, I don't know if I've ever entered a movie theater not stoned. For me, movie theaters represent the munchies, and spending about $79,000 on their largest popcorn, also getting chocolate to pour into the popcorn, then the gummies to eat to take the popcorn out of my teeth while I'm eating the popcorn, and also nachos with an extra fake cheese so I have enough fake cheese to kill a small horse. But
the
finally,
fuck? That
if you
nigga
make it to
said
day 28
chocolate
with no weed,
on
all
popcorn,
withdrawal
bro.
symptoms
You
disappear,
different.
your affected endocannabinoid system and CB1 receptors will return to baseline, and
Give
you
me
might
some
be able
butter
to
and some white
understand
cheddar,
the
I'm
movie.
good.
So I'm not saying that you just have to go out there and quit weed right now, for example. That's not what I'm planning to do. But I think it's really important to understand what will happen to you if you do decide to quit. Life is hard, and I do think that education and learning is what allows you to make the best choices for you. And I think science shows us that quitting weed isn't as easy as we might think it is. You can click a link to our podcast where we
Okay,
discuss
okay, that's
more
not bad.
about the
I like
science
that. You
of
feel
quitting
me?
weed. Make sure
Oh,
you're
cool.
subscribed, and we'll see you next week for a new
mean,
science video.
I know I smoked over a decade. I don't depend on this shit. A lot of motherfuckers depend on this shit. A lot of niggas can't function without smoking weed, for real. I see that shit. Like, niggas, some niggas can't eat. Niggas go to sleep. Some niggas can't work without smoking weed. Like, nigga, look crazy. What? So you telling me without weed, you ain't about to get a bag? Child, like my nigga Ocho Cinco say, Chad Johnson, shout out to the Johnson, because nigga I'm a Johnson. Fuck nigga talking about, child please. Fuck you mean? You know what I mean? Child please. We out of here. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel, y'all. It's your boy Big Mo. Become the DHNT game, man. Be part of us. You feel me?